Hey, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to Real Talk Sports. This is Christopher Patrick, your host, and my best friend and co-host, Anthony Weincoop. How's it going, brother?
It's going good, sir. It's going real good.
All right, we got some things we're going to get into today. Before I get into that, man, I know you've been injured, fighting off gorillas and whatnot. How's your back feeling?
Back's feeling good. A little sore, but a lot better, a lot better.
All right, I want to apologize to everybody for taking so long to get this episode out. It's been a busy weekend. A lot of stuff going down. A lot of good food, actually. That's the real reason. But further ado, I will not have you guys wait anymore. Let's get to that NBA. We had the Warriors. They recently just faced the Spurs. They pulled off a grinder. Then they just faced Memphis, and they won by a point. I think it was like 100 to like 99.
99, yeah.
And I mean, what's your faith in the Warriors right now? They seem a little bit struggling. Are they still going for it? I mean, they're facing the Spurs right now as we speak, actually.
It seems like the schedule's slowly starting to catch up with them. I think they do need to kind of maybe take it easy with the rest, but I mean, they're going for that record. We've been saying rest is a big key, but it seems like it's not a big thing to them, and I think the other teams that they're facing are trying to like maybe stick it to them, but I think the Warriors are going to get that record, man.
No doubt. I mean, the game that's going on right now depends the most on everything. If they get it, if they don't get it. My issue right now, though, is that this is the first time that you're really going to see the Warriors fully stacked and San Antonio fully stacked. Because without Tim Duncan, obviously, tonight, though. But before, the Warriors didn't have Andre. They didn't have Bogut. They still kept in the game. And then, the same could be said about the, Spurs not having LaMarcus playing right and all that junk.
It's a big Western Conference matchup. I mean, the Spurs Warriors is what I think everybody wants to see to determine who's going to make that, spot in the finals. But I mean, the other teams that are out there, they're going to try their hardest. And I think the Warriors, like I said, it's a record time, but I think they're going to, gotta find some time to rest.
Yeah, I mean, this is the second to last game. If they win this game, which I believe they will, they go on to face Memphis, and Memphis is already damaged internally. They gave them a run for their money, but I mean, with the last game on the line, I think Memphis just says, "Hey, we're gonna rest for the playoffs and just let the Warriors have it. We have nothing to lose."
Well, I think Memphis. I mean, they want to try to get that rest, but I mean, they also are chasing Portland kind of now, so maybe they do go hard for it. But yeah, I think maybe Memphis sits people and just say, you know what, we'll take that L and get ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on to more NBA action, actually. I want to talk a little bit more about the playoffs. I feel like there's some upset cities coming here, some teams that are going to arise to the occasion. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel like we got some good upsets. I'm going to take one right now over on the East. I got, if everything stands like they are, I kind of have the Charlotte Hornets beating the Atlanta Hawks. I think the Hornets are a really under-radar team. They got Kemba Walker, Frank Kaminsky, Al Jeff, Nicholas Batum. They're playing at a really good high-level basketball. They're the 6th seed if everything still stands out. I think they could get the Atlanta Hawks.
You know what? I agree with you on that. And my favorite, Frank the Tank. I watched that guy all the way in Nebraska when Wisconsin. Everybody could slap me later for that one. When him and what was that other guy? That small forward. They went to.
His name misleads me, but we know he was a
Decker. There you go, Decker. Those two guys they did that undefeated team in. Yeah. And if you look at stat-wise, Frank Kaminsky outdid Jahlil Okafor in the championship game that year. So there's a lot to be said about this Charlotte team, that Michael Jordan is finally getting the pieces together for.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's right there. They're working really hard. But having that point guard, Kemba Walker, I mean, it makes the team look so much better. It looks amazing. I mean, every team needs a point guard, but, man, Kemba Walker, one of the top East Coast point guards.
The force is strong with Skywalker.
It's very strong with that man.
It is very strong. Well, I'm going to give you my East upset city. I got Miami beating Boston. As much as I do like Boston this year, and I think that, the guy should get Coach of the Year for Boston. I mean, they got a bunch of misfits over there. I feel like Miami's a more well-put-together team. I feel like they got some heavy hitters over there.
Unbiasedly, I think Boston will give Miami everything that they're looking for, but I think Dwayne Wade and Joe Johnson's veteran leadership will be enough to power Miami. I'll take Miami in 6.
All right, I like that one. Let's head over to the West Coast. Who's your upset city in the West?
I got the Dallas Mavericks beating the heavily favored San Antonio Spurs in 6. I think Dirk Nowitzki, Darren Williams, maybe be enough just to power them right over the Spurs.
What I'll give you on that is Dallas has no problem taking the Spurs to 7 games. They do it almost every year, it feels like. Every time they match up, it's that rivalry. It's something about Dirk where he just favors that matchup.
I think Dirk likes it because he knows him and Timmy always have good matchups, good shooting games. But I think maybe, just maybe, this will be the time that, someone will come and rise. Wesley Matthews maybe can help out. I would say Chandler Parsons, but he's hurt. So I think it's gonna come down to Dirk, Darren Williams. They're gonna have to do like a 2-man superpower thing to maybe beat the Spurs.
Yeah. And the thing about it, though, is that we could be talking about 2 of the franchise players in Tim Duncan and Dirk Nowitzki being their last year. So I'm sure this is Dirk Nowitzki's last year because they kind of been talking about it. I mean, he hasn't came out and said this was going to be his last year, but they said, well, if we want to get to the playoffs for Dirk. Usually when a team says that, they're pretty much,
I mean, it's leaning that way. If it's not this year, it's definitely got to be next year, after next year.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about shooters, too, is you never know how long they'll stay. Look at Paul Pierce. Yep. I mean, the guy's staying forever, and you think he's going to retire, but then you look at him, it's like, well, he comes in and just shoots a 3.
I mean, he can still average probably 10, 15, even if he comes off the bench.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm going to go on to my upset city. And the funny thing about it, and I'm probably going to get scolded for this, is I didn't pick Portland to even make the playoffs. So everybody else can, get on the Twitter accounts and all the Facebook and scold me for all I care. But actually, I'm going to pick them to beat OKC. And it's not because I think Portland's a better team than OKC. I just think OKC blows leads left and right. They're going to hand it to their opponent.
I really think Portland's got a good chance at doing this with their, young youth movement going on. The bench is definitely playing a lot better. If it's all depends on Damian versus Russell Westbrook, and I really think Damian's shooting is going to give him the advantage.
I know. I think he will. Russell Westbrook, this is coming out of my mouth, is a little overrated. But, one can argue not.
He can break rims and attack them all he wants, but if Dame's hitting them 3 balls, it's Portland all day.
Well, 2s, definitely don't outweigh 3s. And that's why Golden State has been winning this year, because their 3s just outscore 2s. And Westbrook, with them giving up so many fourth quarter leads, and actually one of those fourth quarter leads that they've given up has been to Portland,
Player to watch if that matchup happens, Allen Crabbe. Everybody probably already knows, but Allen Crabbe is going to be big if that's actually a matchup off the bench.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm going to move on to the PGE Tours, the Masters right now. And not so much talk about the Masters because golf is golf, and unless you're like a gentleman, which most of the world isn't anymore, you probably don't watch golf. But what's your thoughts about Tiger Woods actually not being in the Masters this year?
I think it's just, golf has moved on from Tiger. I mean, I think he still obviously can be relevant, but I think there's so many young up-and-coming, golfers. I think the game's just moved on from him. And, I mean, honestly, he's not even really playing that good at golf. I'm not a professional big golf watcher, but, I mean, I know there's younger guys. There's Jordan Spieth, just one that comes off the top of my head right now. He's playing better, and fans are looked upon him more than Tiger.
Well, I mean, Tiger has lost his golfing skills. I mean, he does not play like any of us remember. The golf has left Tiger. The white girls have left Tiger. It is time for the world to leave Tiger.
If he still wants to play, he could still play on the senior PGA Tour. They take players anytime in the air.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the Tiger Woods golf game, though. I like that game. That's about it.
Tiger Woods, he can't even do that. They've moved on from him there, too.
Yeah, that's a damn shame. All right. Well, I don't want to stay too much on that subject. I just wanted to bring Tiger Woods up just because he's Tiger Woods and he deserves a little bit of time on my show. Other than that, let's go on to actually boxing. And then, after we get done with the boxing, we're going to move on to our defensive drafts. But I'll talk more about that, after we get done with boxing. Pacquiao just had a fight. Pacquiao won the fight. What's your thoughts on that?
I didn't much check it. I know it was probably a really good fight. Pacquiao won by decision, so obviously means that went about all 12 rounds. I'm hoping that, maybe, just maybe, he takes one more fight. Not sure who it's against, but hey, one more fight and then maybe he hangs up. I don't want him to hang it up after this one.
I'd be okay if he hung it up after this one. I mean, everybody's pushing that Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. I don't see it coming. I think Mayweather is content. I mean, from everything that I've been reading, he loves not being in boxing right now. I mean, he's made all the money in the world. He's definitely, his son had like that Sweet 16 where he bought him like a gold Bentley type crap thing. He doesn't need boxing.
No, I mean, on top of that, he's still technically around the sport because he has his promotion. So obviously, he can promote any fighter he wants. He could set up something for himself if he feels like that. But I mean, everybody wants to see him maybe one more time, and I just don't think it's going to happen. But I definitely, like I said, maybe one more good fight for Pacquiao. Maybe he fights one more kind of middle, heavy kind of guy like in that welterweight class. Maybe try out for another, shot at a belt. But if not, it's been a great career for Pacquiao.
Yeah, Pacquiao's had a great career. Just recently, he didn't have such a great comment about the gays. Just newsflash, if you can not bring up the gays, you're probably going to do well. That's something that nobody wants to hear or address. So in the sports world, if you want to keep somewhat of your fame, not lose some endorsements, keep religion, politics, and gay people out of it. That's usually how it works. But as far as like his career, Pacquiao's had a legendary career. It's no doubt Pacquiao, changed the sport, changed his weight class. A lot of people weren't into the featherweights and the welterweights too often.
Yeah, they really only stayed to really pay attention when he jumped up to welterweight, kind of even fought at middleweight. But, he was like a really scrawny guy, really skinny guy because he was all speed. But obviously, he was willing to fight anyone and anywhere, even that meant moving up weight. And that's why, you got to respect him for the fighter that he was.
Yeah, and, same goes for Mayweather. You don't go undefeated in your sport without being good. I don't care what nobody says. There's not too many fighters out there that go, 49 is it?
Yeah.
49-0. I've seen fighters, old school fighters that go 20-something and 0. But I have not seen a fighter go 49-0. You took 49 fights and you won every one of them.
It might have been, running around on some people's aspects. It might have been turtle defense or, shoulder block defense, whatever you call it. The man's still doing whatever he's got to do to win them fights, whether by decision, knockouts. It's 49 wins, no losses. You got to respect it for what it is.
Yeah, so where does he rank then on your top all-time boxing list? Is he top 5? Is he number 1? Where does he fall?
He's like number 5 for me. He's a welterweight / middleweight, so obviously you got to give him respect there. But he's number 5 to me. I'm not gonna run him down right now, but I got him at number 5.
You know what? He's the best fighter I've ever seen. I got him number 1, no doubt. And I'm not even a Mayweather fan. That's how much you go 49-0. I don't care. You could bring up Iron Mike. But even Iron Mike got beat. You could bring up Muhammad Ali, but even Muhammad Ali got beat. No man has stepped in the ring with Mayweather and has done the unthinkable. That's how good of a defense he is. Anytime that Pacquiao in the last fight was getting off on him, he found a way to escape it and keep his composure and win the fight. And to me, you don't have to win by beating up the other guy. You have to win by just being the smarter, opponent.
Hey, boxing's always going to be it's a physical sport, but it also is a very smart mental fight, and you got to know how to way to psych out your opponent. That's what Mayweather did. That's why he came up with the shoulder blade defense, and that's why you got fighters nowadays trying to emulate it because it works. He's winning, he's getting paid, and people want to do the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. So we're going to go on to the NFL draft. Last week we did the top 8 offensive players. We're not predicting if they'll go 1. We're just doing if we were doing straight offense, who would we pick? Now this week we're gonna go straight defense. We're gonna do top 8 defense, but we're gonna start from the Bucks, the number 9, and we're gonna go to 16. We're gonna do 8 players of top defense. Now mind you, these defensive players can go number 1. Can go in the top, 10, but we were just picking if we had to choose nothing but defensive players, who would we choose? So we're going to start off with the Bucks. The Bucks have the 8th pick. The 9th pick of the 2016 draft. Wine Coop, who do you pick up?
I got the Bucks taking Vernon Hargreaves from Florida, the cornerback. I think the Bucks need a corner. It'd be a good spot for him. Someone that can also learn from Alteron Werner. They just also got Brett Grimes, so he could even go in the slot. Vernon Hargreaves from Florida.
And this is a Buck expert right here. This is his team, so I trust his motives on this one. But I actually went a little different. I went defensive end. I feel like they need to get bigger. You can never hurt to get bigger. So I went with Joey Bosa, right out of Ohio State. He's a 6'6" guy, 275 pounds. He's just a big boy that can clog up that middle, help that run defense out.
I would like that pick also, so that is a great pick.
So let's go to number 10, the New York Giants. Who do you got?
I got the Giants taking Reggie Ragland, middle linebacker from Bama. He's a very solid tackler. You know, he looks like a C.J. Mosley, also being a Ravens guy. He looks a lot like him, so I think that'd be a perfect pick for the New York Giants, Reggie Ragland.
I like that. I went defensive back too. But I went a different guy. I went Jalen Ramsey out of Florida State University. He's a 6'1", 201-pound guy. And the reason why I picked him is because he's very versatile. I think that you could put him in different positions, being that he's not the biggest guy. So he has that kind of like Khalil Mack about him that you can, if you want to throw him at middle linebacker, you could. If you want to throw him on the line, you can. He's a very versatile player. And with New York needing a lot of different pieces, you can use a guy that can play a lot of different positions. So we have Chicago coming in at 11. Who do you got them taking?
I got Chicago Bears taking Leonard Floyd, the outside linebacker from Georgia. He's very fast, looks like a really good tackler, and I think he'd fit perfectly in there with like Pernell McPhee and some of their other good outside linebackers. Leonard Floyd.
That's a good pick, man. You know what? I got him going with Scooby Wright the third. Scooby, linebacker. 6'1", 266. And you know who he reminds me a lot of?
Who's that?
Brian Urlacher. That's why I think Chicago wants to try to rehatch that egg.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
So we got New Orleans coming at, 12 now?
Yes, sir, 12.
At 12, New Orleans. Who you got, boss?
I got the New Orleans Saints taking Jalen Ramsey from Florida State, corner, someone that, could start being a building block for the Saints to get their defense going. So, Jalen Ramsey.
This is another team that, in my opinion, was hard to choose from because I think they have so many holes in their defense. Either way, you couldn't go wrong. I have them taking Jalen Smith, a linebacker out of Notre Dame. 6'2", 255, just a big monster. In my opinion, in football, you got to start with your line, whether it be on the offense or defense. And once you get your line intact, you can go elsewhere.
Very sure. That's a very good thing to do. And, anybody that's looking to build their line, get a linebacker or a good D tackle.
All right, we got Miami sitting at number 13. Who do you got?
I got Miami taking Joey Bosa right in out of Ohio State. They lost Oliver Vernier, so I think he'd be a good replacement to go with Sue and Mario Williams.
You know what? As you guys heard earlier, I went with Joey Bosa to the Bucks, but that would be a good spot for him to go to. They're definitely defensive line heavy. But you know what? I've been hearing a lot of rumors that Sue might be getting traded. So I went with the Sue replacement. I went with the 6'4", 312-pound A'Shawn Robinson out of Alabama. I thought they're going to get ready to maybe, even if you don't trade Sue, you put him on the line with Sue, and that's caused a lot of problems. If you get rid of Sue, you got another guy to come in and cause a lot of problems. So that's why I kind of went with that pick.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good pick, and it never hurts having depth at the D tackle.
Yeah. So next on the 14th pick, my Raiders. My Oakland Raiders. I can't do it as good as Boomer.
Yeah.
But my Raiders, love them, by the way. Who do you got for my Raiders?
I got your Oakland Raiders taking Eli Apple, the corner out of Ohio State. You've been saying they need a corner. I think this guy would be a perfect fit. 6'1", about 6'2", 220. Tall, athletic corner that can go up there and, get some interceptions. Eli Apple.
Yeah, this is a team that's frustrating me. In a good way, actually, because of the fact that I have a draft pick for them, and then they turn around and they go sign that position. They went and got Reggie Nelson, a safety. Then they turn around and got a CB Norman. I was like, oh man, we need a CB. Now we don't need a CB. I still think we go CB. I think we go Vernon. And sorry if I pronounce his last name wrong, but Hargreaves. He's a 5'11", 192 pounds out of Florida. I think Florida produces good defensive players. And, with the bust that we had a few years ago with DJ Hayden, I think we try to right that wrong, rewrite that wrong.
Yeah, either corner is good, but it definitely seems like Oakland needs a corner.
They do. I mean, that front line just looks nasty. So we're gonna move on because I can go on all day about my Raiders. But we're gonna go to actually, and I don't know if we can call them this now, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. The L.A. Rams. They're next up on the number 15. Who do you got them taking?
I got the LA Rams taking Von Bell, a hard-hitting safety out of Ohio State. The Rams do like hard hitters. He seems like he's going to be a guy that, goes right along with that team. Even though they lost a lot of, key pieces, him and Mark Barron would be nice. So Von Bell, safety.
I like Von Bell. I like him a lot. I actually have them going for a CB. So you had them going safety at CB. So we're kind of in the right, ballpark. But I have them going for Kendall Fuller, the CB out of Virginia Tech. I think that. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm ahead of myself here. That's wrong pick. Scratch that back. The LA Rams actually. I got them taking your Oregon guy. I'm because it's Oregon. I always want to skip over them. You know how I feel about Oregon. I am actually taking DeFrost Buckner, the defensive tackle, or defensive line, defensive line, 6'7", 290. Another just really big guy to help out their defense, their big line. They're still, I think hurting after Sue left. Or I'm still thinking about Detroit. Wow. No, the Rams is like hard hitters. I think they failed with Sam's.
Yeah.
And they want to kind of replace another guy that can come in and do that. And they just seem to stack up on that line every year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, both picks are going to be good. DeForest Buckner will bring some edge. And like I said, Von Bell, a hard-hitting safety. So I think those are good picks.
Those are good picks. And now let's actually move on to Detroit since I've already skipped over to LA Rams because that's how much I care about them. Because they were actually my surprise team last year, and they kind of pooped on me. So I'm pooping on them right now. So let's go to Detroit. Who do you got Detroit taking?
I got Detroit taking A'Shawn Robinson, the D-tackle from Bama. I think he goes perfectly with what they need. They got a Haloti Ngata back for another year. This would be a perfect backup to him, someone that can kind of come in, even be like a Nick Fairley, a Sue that they had, someone that's going to be a space eater, clog up the line. A'Shawn Robinson.
I like that. Even though I had A'Shawn going a lot sooner than that, I think that's still a good pick. I think they're going to go Kendall Fuller, the CB out of Virginia Tech, the 6 foot, 197 pounds. I think because they do have Ngata, they're not going to go big again. I think he's a lot to handle, and he was definitely a savior when they got rid of Sue because that's a hard position to fill, and they filled it nicely, and it took a hit on your Ravens in the worst way.
Oh yeah, it hurt. I mean, we kind of got lucky that we did have a young Brandon Williams to back up losing Haloti, but yeah, it still hurts. You never can fully replace Haloti Ngata. That's a big veteran. That's why, like I said, I think A'Shawn Robinson would be a good spot as a backup. So that way, in case maybe he retires after this year, you do have someone backing him up.
Yeah, and Detroit got a lot of holes. I mean, with Calvin Johnson retiring at age 30, I mean, that's I don't believe he'll stay retired. I think, honestly, he'll take a year off, come back, play with another team for a couple of years.
Watch the Patriots go after Calvin Johnson after this year's up. If not the Patriots, the Green Bay Packers.
Watch the Patriots on everything they do because they seem to do some things that I don't know, why, but, with Matt Forte and all.
If the Patriots get Calvin Johnson, Tom Brady signs up for 2-3 more seasons. He'll play till he's 44 or something.
I'm ready for Tom Brady to go home. I'm ready for him to make some movies or go do like a model shoot or something for GQ, and that'd be his new career. Unfortunately for a guy like Tom Brady, I guarantee you that we may not see him on the football field. We will see him as an announcer somewhere, just like Peyton Manning's trying to do.
He'll be Jim Nance's new quarterback go-to guy. Phil Simms is going to be out of a job once Tom Brady retires.
Yeah, Phil. Yeah, exactly right. So that wraps up our defensive players. Once again, we picked only defense this week. Next week we're actually going to go defense offense. So we're gonna go back to number 1, and we're gonna pick who we think is gonna go number 1, number 2, and that should be right before the actual draft itself. So this is we're gonna get a chance to see the NFL combine, and we're gonna see some more trades that happen, and usually by draft time we'll get an idea of what's in place and who's gonna go where. I just want everybody to know who the defensive stars were right now, and if we were going to go strictly defense, these are the top of the list guys to go for.
Yeah, I mean, we try to do these little bit of mock drafts to try to get ahead of everything. I mean, obviously, the big places, they got all theirs, but we're trying to think of something like if you went strictly offense, you went strictly defense. So, yeah, definitely, next week or the week after, we definitely want to try to, go and pinpoint number one, number two, how these teams, in our mind, if we were like their GMs, how we would draft. So I think that'd be definitely, something good and something, good for you guys to figure it out. Because, I mean, the draft is coming up here soon, so can't wait.
Yeah, I agree, and definitely if you guys have any teams, if your favorite team is the Cowboys, please tell me who you think the Cowboys need, because I'm sure you do nothing but follow all the Cowboys, and you have your own sources that everybody seems to have. That imaginary source that calls your phone, the Adam Schefflers that call your phone and tells you that, hey, we're going to make a trade today, and we just want you to know and nobody else to know. So
don't hold out on the information. If you got Jerry Jones on the speed dial, let us know.
Isn't that how that guy that you work with, he's got like some imaginary...
Yeah, he like has like some sort of like Twitter feed that's like only, the owner's exclusive, and it's just like, I don't even know where this guy gets info from, but he always seems like has Jerry Jones in his back pocket.
Yeah. It's like, we're not going to actually go for Manziel. We're going to go for RG3.
Right.
Like, no, you're not, because he signed a deal already over there with the Browns. But yeah, if you think that your team's going to pick somebody else, let me know. I want to see who this guy is. I want to take a look. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Like, share, comment, all that jazz stuff on the internet.
Have a good day and be safe.
Yeah, and we're going to go back to watching that Warriors game. Peace out.